Hi viewers, I am Leena Garg, back here to give you a glimpse of University of Alabama School of Dentistry today. We have Suhrudwamsi Musunuri with us, who is a current D3 student at UAB, to answer all your doubts about the process. Hi Surud, so how is dental school life treating you?
Hi, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. I am so glad to be doing this because I remember when I was in the process, I was so confused to find resources, to find all the information. It was a hassle. So this is amazing that you're doing it. And it's been great so far in the school. It's been a hectic first 6 months, but it's been awesome.
Okay, so let's start with having a detailed introduction of your journey. Where are you from, how you came to US, and why dentistry here?
Okay. So I am Suhrudwamsi Musunuri. I was originally born and raised in the southern part of India. And I went on to do my BDS in Manipal College of Dental Sciences, Mangalore. And I graduated in September 2018. So while I was at school, I actually came to the United States to visit my family that lives here. So that's when I came to know about the lifestyle and how everything has its defined degree here and everyone has a defined process. I kind of got interested in that, and that's how I thought, okay, maybe it's not a bad idea to move to a different country to get here. So in 2019, early 2019, my sister lives here. So I moved to the United States and I started looking up for resources, trying to find all the information for this.
Okay, so you cleared your NBDs in 2019?
Yes.
Okay, and
yeah, so the NBDE process back then, it was part 1 and part 2. Right now it's integrated. It took about 3 to 4 months for each step. For part 1, it was about 3 to 4 months, and part 2, another 3 to 4 months. And my TOEFL, I prepared along with my part 2 exam, and I cleared all my exams in 2019.
Wow, that's amazing. So did you apply in 2019 cycle?
I did, but this is one thing I wouldn't advise others to do. I applied right away thinking, okay, maybe I should apply it so that I don't waste any time. But it's really important to work on your profile and like apply early in the process, because I applied almost in December to Boston, and which was a really bad time to apply because it was almost towards the end of the cycle.
Yeah, it's towards deadline.
Yeah, so my actual cycle was 2020. That's when I prepared all the material and applied.
Okay, so it was COVID cycle then.
Yes.
So it's great. Like even in your introduction, you told our viewers that do take time to provide quality application to the schools. Don't rush through the applications. That's great.
Yes.
So what was the one thing that kept you going throughout your journey?
A lot of inspiration from people, especially, initially I didn't have a lot of people to connect to. There were some of my classmates who were preparing, but each of us we were in the same boat. So I reached out to this one person who said, I know it takes a lot of time, but if you put in your time and effort, you're going to reach that goal. And once you reach, the life here is going to be amazing. So that's one thing that kept running through my mind, that, oh, after all of this hassle, it's going to be amazing. So I kept going because of that. And I also tried to build up my profile during that time. So I kept myself occupied building my profile. So it didn't really affect me so much because I was continuously doing something or the other.
Right. And on the other side, what was the biggest challenge and what you learned from it?
The biggest challenge was waiting for the results. Just the uncertainty of it.
Yeah, that's like a long wait time.
Yes. And also staying away from my mom and dad at home, and like moving to a totally different country, trying to get used to the technology here and how the processes are really lengthy and how they look for an overall profile. Just getting to know a lot of things was what
It's like, coming out of that bubble. which we
Yes.
created in India, and like exploring everything new. So you did participate in some shadowing or volunteering opportunities here?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So as soon as I came here, while I was preparing for my part one and part two, I started going around different clinics in my locality,
Mhm.
and I requested each and every dentist in my locality. I think I went to almost like 23 or 24 dental clinics with my resume saying, I really want this. I just want to observe what you're doing. Yeah, and after going around to 23 different places, two of the dentists told me, oh yeah, you can come and shadow us. So that's how I got my first opportunity for that. And I started shadowing them, and I learned a lot of new things. So I think even for people who are looking to move to the United States, or like maybe just planning to apply even from India, it's always better if you come here to give your parts or something. Just go to a dentist, and even 1 week will change your perspective a lot about how it is here. So that's a very valuable experience to me.
Yeah, yeah, it is. So, like, because you told your family is on West Coast, did you restrict yourself to apply just to West Coast schools?
Not really. So initially when I moved here, they were actually residing in Pennsylvania,
Oh,
and they weren't here. So I moved to Pennsylvania first. It's a long story. And then after I moved here, my brother-in-law got a job on the West Coast. So my sister and my brother-in-law moved to the West Coast. But by then I finished my boards, and I even applied for a dental assisting license, and I got a job luckily as a dental assistant. So I stayed back in Pennsylvania. They moved here, and I was applying to all the schools from Pennsylvania. So I was actually applying more to schools on East Coast just because I lived there.
awesome. So, like, you have been in the East time zone, the West time zone, the Central time zone, everywhere
Yes,
in the US. That's
yes,
amazing. So, you must have witnessed the cultural differences also, right?
yes,
The coast. That's amazing.
yeah.
So, can you tell our potential student audience why they should choose your school for DMD?
So for me, it was three reasons. One, because their patient pool is amazing. So University of Alabama School of Dentistry is the only school in entire Alabama. So you have a huge patient pool, patients coming from all over Alabama, and also patients coming from Georgia and Tennessee,
Mhm.
and some parts of Florida as well. So you will have a very good experience. And me being a relatively fresh graduate, I know there are a lot of people applying from 2020 or maybe 2019 graduates too. But for me, I was looking for more patient experience and exposure for me to get better prepared for practice in US. So that was the biggest thing for me. And the second thing was earlier in my internship in India, when I was looking for college rankings in general, I looked up and it said that UAB was in the top 25 of the entire world, and maybe like top 10 in the US. So that was also one of the things that brought me towards that. And the other thing was, this is kind of a silly reason, but the weather is very similar to India.
Oh, no, that is actually very important, right? There are
Yeah,
so many skin diseases and other things happening nowadays, so it's so important to live in the accustomed weather.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So all the three of these reasons, and few of my distant relatives live nearby in Atlanta as well. So
Okay. So
yeah.
how about the research opportunities?
The research opportunities are pretty good here too. In the first 6 months, when you're doing the IDP program, you might not be able to do a lot just because of how hectic and how packed up the first 6 months are. But as soon as you become a D3 or a D4, you can approach any department that you like. You can show them your interest in that, maybe bring up a topic, and they'll allow you to do some research under them.
Awesome. So let me tell the audience that UAB has an additional 6-month preparatory program. And Surut, can you talk about the program, how it is and what all they teach?
Yeah, sure. So our program is 2.5 years. The first 6 months is called an IDP program, International Dentist Program, in which we, as an exclusive batch, for us it was 16, but this year I think they're increasing it to 24. Uh, in the first 6 months, we basically have preclinical lab in which we concentrate on operative, removable partial dentures, complete dentures, implantology, just the implant restorations part of it. So they make sure that we know everything really well before we actually start working in clinics. And then we also have didactic courses in oral pathology, perio. Perio, we take both D1 and D2 classes. Yeah. And then there are, yeah, we mostly cover most of the other subjects like pros, operative, all of that we have like for D2 syllabus.
Okay, that's amazing. So UAB is clinically really very oriented and proficient. I understood that. So what difference does it make to study in an integrated program like UAB?
So from once we get into D3, we actually along with the traditional students. So there's technically no difference between the IDP students and the traditional students. And we have equal opportunities in terms of clinics, research, and whatever we want to do. And we also have different student clubs for people who are interested in a particular subject. So we can go on and like participate in the student club events and like maybe for future residency purposes too. That helps a lot. So we are given equal opportunity in that.
Impressive. Okay. So what your particular day schedule comprises of?
So as an IDP student, we had lectures usually in the mornings, and being in the COVID cycle, we were mostly just virtual. It was all Zoom lectures. Sometimes we had to take Zoom lectures with the D1s, sometimes with the D2s, and sometimes it was exclusively just IDP students. So we had some courses that were just for the IDP students because they respected that we knew a lot of things. So they just wanted to brush up on certain topics to make us aware of the new changes or anything that we didn't know.
Okay.
And then we used to have labs mostly on Wednesday and on Fridays in the afternoon and in the morning. And some of the days we would go and attend the clinics and maybe just assist or watch the D3 and D4 students work.
You should prepare yourself during the summer break. It's going to be really hectic now.
Yeah.
So, okay, I want you to, go back in the time when you appeared for your interview and bench test. I think it was virtual.
Yes.
So how was it? Share the experience, please.
So it was really good. So I think Alabama is one of the first schools to send an interview invite. So it's very early on in the cycle because I know for a fact that a lot of students already interviewed at Alabama for this cycle.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you cannot apply late in the cycle. Just give your chance if you think your profile is good enough. So for me, it was entirely virtual, which means we had a Zoom interview session with two of our professors. So the first professor, she took an interview, just basic stuff, just like they really want to know your personality and how you would keep up with the program. That's all they want to know. And I think really being honest with them and being true to yourself is the key to it because they are going to look at you for the next 2.5 years. So just try to be yourself. And so the interview was divided into two portions. One was she was just asking like personality based questions, and then we had another professor come over and also ask us basic stuff, and then it went on to treatment planning, caries detection, periodontal disease detection. So this was just they wanted to know where you stand in terms of your knowledge in diagnosing and treating diseases.
Did it also have ethical questions or radiographic interpretations?
For me, they didn't really ask me ethical questions, but I think some of my other peers had ethical questions too. And
Okay.
radiographic questions, yes, there were a lot of radiographs given to us right on Zoom. The professors shared her screen, and we were able to see them. And I was asked to interpret caries, and I was asked to interpret which stage and grading of periodontal disease it is. So
Okay.
for whoever is not aware of the latest 2018 periodontal classification, I highly recommend them to learn that.
Yeah. So basically, they want to check if you have eye for diagnosis, right?
Yes. Mhm.
And what about the bench test?
So after the interview, we had something called a social meeting,
Mm-hmm.
which was just for us to know how the college is, where our seniors, D3s and D4s, IDP students, they came on and they told us how the program would be, how the city is, and any questions that we could ask. So this was about a week after the interview was done. And then maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, uh, the people who were selected in the interview session, they were called for a bench test.
Okay.
So our bench test was again a virtual one. But for me, they sent, for everyone in our batch, I suppose, they sent out a typodont with instructions and
Oh,
burrs and instruments only that we could use. So we couldn't use anything else other than what they sent. And we had to record ourselves doing a bench test. And we were given a time limit of 1 hour to do a crown prep and an operative, which is a class 2.
wow.
Yeah. And we had to finish all of that, record everything in about an hour and submit the video along with the typodont. We had to mail it back to them.
So there were proctors watching you, or you did the recording by your own and send it to?
We had to record it by ourselves, but we had to show the typodont every part of it in front of the camera before doing and also after doing. So there was no scope for, it was all fair. Yeah,
That
I thought it was pretty
Yeah,
fair.
I feel it's more difficult than the regular bench test because at least you
Yes.
are in that atmosphere and it's so easy to get acclimated. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's unique,
Yeah.
amazing. So you killed it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what does your class consist of? What all visas, like clinical experiences, ethnicity, what
Mhm.
all it has?
So Alabama has a preference for permanent residents, but they did take some people who were in the process of residency or did not yet get permanent residency. And in terms of diversity, we are a class of 16. And I think our batch was 9 of us were Indians, but the other batches they were more diverse. But in terms of experience, we were extremely diverse because they were fresh grads and they were people who have a practice experience of more than 9 or 10 years, or maybe even 15 years, and some with their master's degrees, some without, and some with some unique research experiences. So that was great. And we have some Russians, some people from Iran, Iraq, Egypt. Yeah.
Great, great. So, do you recommend? Yeah, you recommend to apply early in the school, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your one last advice for all the applicants who already applied to UB and is applying? What would that be?
Just maybe be yourself and try to apply early in the cycle whenever possible. And that doesn't mean you apply just for the sake of. I think you really need to focus on putting out an overall profile and also try to include small achievements in your life that may not seem like a big thing to you, but there could be certain things. Like for me, I used to be involved in a lot of artistic activities and stuff back in
Oh,
dental school in India. So I included that in my personal statement. And even when I moved to the United States in Pennsylvania, I would take part in the local fairs for, the art stuff. So that was a point of discussion in my interview. So small things that you think that they would not notice are actually noticed by a lot of professors. That's what makes your profile unique. So whatever you think is unique, just put it out there and just be yourself.
Awesome. So, Ruth, like you have shared so much with our audience. I'm sure they are at a better level after watching this video. And if they want to reach out to you for further help, is there any way they can do?
Yeah, they can actually, do you want me to share my email address here?
Yeah, you can share your email address. I'll put it in the description of this video.
Okay, they can contact me on Instagram or through my email address.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna here for you.
Yeah. So you were amazing, Suru. Thank you for providing like so much information about UAB and taking time to come here with us, guide all the applicants, especially in this trying times, I must say. I'll not take much of your time and I wish you good luck for your future. Coming to my audience, with my experience, I feel all the applications are like fingerprints. No two prints are the same. Don't lose hope. Keep trying. As Surut said, don't rush your applications through, work on them. And for any questions you have regarding a specific school, do reach our team. Remember, we are all in this together. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really enjoyed sharing my journey here. And if anyone has any questions regarding the application cycle or regarding my school, I am happy to help you out.
Of course, sure, Surut. Thank you.